Welcome to the Heat of Waves podcast, all you YouTubers and anybody else out there listening. I'm Mr. Bradley with my colleague here, my best friend, and my bro, T-Ball. What's up, T-Ball? What are we talking about?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here. Pardon my voice a little. It's going to be a little cracky today, but we're trying to get you some information as best as possible. Today, we are going to be talking about the CBA proposal in the NFL. The CBA proposal isn't really supposed to be official until 2021, but the owners are pushing for it to get it done as quickly as possible. And apparently, there's a lot of players and other people in these organizations not too happy about the proposals and what it states. So let's jump into that.
The current proposal has 12 teams going to the NFL playoffs, right? This is like the big thing in the 17 games. They want to add 17 games, take one off the preseason, make that 3 preseason games and 17 regular season games, and change the postseason format from 12 teams to 14 teams, which means one extra team from the AFC, NFC, which, if you're thinking about it from last year's terms, it would have been the Rams and Steelers would be these extra 2 teams in the AFC and NFC. So that's pretty crazy to think about. But that is basically an expansion of it with numbers-wise with the postseason and the regular season and preseason, which some of the stuff I don't like. Some of it you may like, T-Ball. I'd like to know your opinion on it. The players sure had a hell of a time on deciding against this, but it still looks like it may be happening. But not this year that the postseason goes in effect with the 14 teams, like I said.
Yeah, they're projecting in this year the postseason expanded from 12 to 14. But it'd be 2021 before the NFL has the option to expand the regular season from the 16 to 17.
Yeah.
But if and when the NFL does move to 17 games, each team is going to receive a bye week in place of a 4th preseason game.
Which is going to be weird.
Which is a little going to be weird.
How are you going to determine when those 2 buys happen? You know?
I don't know. That was a good question. I think that was a lot of the problem that they're having is trying to get it done so quickly in the CBA not being real clear, since a lot of the guys just got like a quick breakdown of what it is. It's not all the information they needed to actually make details. A decision. But we do know there'd be an annual revenue split. Owners receive 53%, players receive 47%.
Which is ridiculous. That's the 2020 proposal, which is ridiculous. Why is it the guys that are playing the game are only getting 47%?
Which, like I said, the MLB and the NBA, it's 50-50.
Yeah, but the NFL, I mean, it's more physical. You get more hurt, obviously, all that good stuff, and they're only getting 47%. That's fucking ridiculous. And the owners are just sitting there raking it in at 53%. I think it should be a 50-50 split, T-Ball.
I think it should too. They're talking about the highest increase going to about 48.5%. Immediate increase in minimum salaries, 1 million minimum salaries by 2029.
I mean, that's a long ways though from now. It's 9 years, you know.
It's got a lot of. So I think what the players are having the problem with the most is that they're going to make them play an extra game. And the increase in this revenue split, gives them quite a bit of money back, but it's capped at the same time too.
Yeah, and it's still not as much as their salary would be.
Yeah, so the math in it doesn't make sense. Like, so you want us to play this extra game for like a quarter of the amount of money we would make. 1/7. And and that's where it brought up the issue is, why should I get paid less money to continue to put my body in
an extra game?
And that's when we were talking about, I think, in another podcast where you might see, so you'd have 3 preseason games. Instead of that 4th preseason game coming, it'd be a regular season game, but you'd still see no starters. And then that was the conversation we had about who's going to come to a regular season game that means something, but you don't see any of your starters.
Right.
They're not going to get paid that full amount of money for that extra game.
No, but I do like the double bye. The double bye does.
I do too.
That softens the blow. I think this was for the players' sake. They're like, you know what? If we're going to add an extra game, you guys are so mad about it, having to play this extra game where you're making less money than what you would salary-wise and all that good stuff. Well, we'll give you an extra bye because, obviously more injuries do occur if you add another game to the season, a regular season game, and take away one from there. But I don't like taking a game away from preseason. I feel like you need preseason to evaluate correctly in a timely manner, enough time to evaluate these draft picks, these competitiveness that you need out of that. But also, nobody likes to watch the preseason because it's so boring because there are no starters most of the time, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a back and forth thing that's kind of a problem. But at the same time, it's kind of nice for us as fans to get that extra game. If this CBA, what they're trying to propose now, was set for the last 20 years, right? Imagine how many times that last 7 seed of each conference could have been in there. It could have been your team or my team or whoever's, and made the playoffs and had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but it didn't get a chance because they didn't have those extra seeds. So I think that's exciting for the game as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's bullshit for the players. I understand why they voted against it, money-wise.
Yeah, well, Richard Sherman came out on Twitter and said health and wellness of our men is always the most important aspect.
Yeah.
There's no price you can put on that, and that is why I voted no. I respect the men that have the part of this discussion and stood up for their locker rooms. Now, Richard Sherman is one of those NFLPA people who speak out, as well as Aaron Rodgers, people like J.J. Watt, a lot of big-time Russell Wilson. None of the big dog players in the league are liking this situation.
Which is funny to me because all those guys you name make the most money in the league, and it's like,
and I think
up.
Because it affects them the most. If he's making $4.2 million, a game or whatever it is, and in that last game you come in and you're like, I'm only making $250K for this game.
Why would you play? You're not going to.
I wouldn't.
I mean, it's a good way to get the second string in there and get them, get a little more action, third string guys. But at the same time, if that's the last game of the season, no one's going to want to play that last game of the season or the first game of the season, like you were saying. It's gonna be the regular season game and no starters are playing because you're like, well, why would I play an extra game for $250,000 when I make $9 million a game or what? Like you're saying. So I totally get that from the players. The money wise is fucked.
They're risking their bodies,
right? For no money, for $250,000. That seems like a shitload to us because I could use $250,000 right now. But when you're laying your body on the line against these hard hitting, fast paced guys that are out there to cream you, and yet the NFL at the same time is going, we want to make the game safer. We got to make it safer. So we got to change all these rules. How are you making it safer on these guys to add another game? And most of them aren't going to play because of the money wise.
So they have new workout rules, new drug policies, increased emphasis on clinical care rather than punishment, significant reductions of penalties for marijuana use,
which I think is amazing. Increased
discipline for DUIs. They have players permitted at team fields during the second half of suspension period. They like I said, with the new work rules, vested veterans, players with 4 or more occurred seasons, receive up to 5 days of absences for workouts, including 1 OTA, without losing off-season work bonuses. So there's a lot of stuff in here that helps them, not only because that extra money, if you think about it this way, it's like, yeah, they're not going to get paid a lot more money to play an extra game, but the extra money that they're going to make off of that, since the NFL's main revenue is off of TV
and off the players,
they're going to use that money, and what they've said in the statement apparently is they're going to use that money to ensure players are getting better insurance, they're getting better medical care.
They should have the best insurance and medical care. I like the postseason. I like everything about this. I like the marijuana thing got me, and the drug policy and the alcoholic thing. Of course, it said a 3-game increase of 3-game suspension if you get caught with a DUI, which is huge because that was hell. They could get it like bargained down to a game or even not even a game anymore. But now the marijuana that comes in effect, it says you're no longer you're still going to get tested. You're still going to get tested. It's not going to be as much, but even if you are pissing dirty, for weed, they don't suspend you for a game anymore. That's amazing because that goes back to what we talked about on all these podcasts, talking about how weed does not enhance your strength and ability. It may slow the game down like we were talking. It may slow it down to see it better and all that, but it does not give you a statistical advantage, physically, strength and speed or anything like that. So I think this is great for that. So they're finally getting rid of that because, the NBA...
Especially when some of these players play in states where marijuana is legal.
And it helps your body. It helps these players, inflammation, all that good stuff. Everybody knows all the goods about weed, and that's why, blah, blah, blah. But I think this is just great in that aspect for the players because it will help heal their bodies on those extra bye weeks like we were talking about. And not only that, they don't get suspended. So think about that. Josh Gordon doesn't get suspended for a whole year. What could have been of that? Or Ricky Williams with his weed problems. Reggie Bush. I mean, there's tons of guys out there that got in trouble for this that wouldn't now if this passes. So,
yeah.
And it's just amazing for them. I think it's great.
It is, and I think it could work out for the players. I mean...
As long as these guys aren't coming in there stoned as fuck, like, man,
right.
I can't even play today. Like,
coming in reeking loud.
I get that. Then suspend their ass, because that's not cool. Like, if you want to, if you smoked earlier in the week, but not on game day or nothing, unless it was afterwards. But cool, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it's like... I guess in a business sense, you can't just jump right in and be like,
no,
here's what we got, and we have to hope it sticks. They're eventually going to have to... So, like I said, it was 47%. It's going to go to, like, 48.5% as far as their revenue goes.
Which is not fair.
That's a good increase.
But it's not fair.
But it's not fair yet. So you should be getting 50-50.
Billions of dollars.
I think what some of these guys...
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Messing up my
Get a little
stuff
excited.
over here.
Get a little excited.
I think what these guys are not understanding is the fact that the NFL is going to have to gradually increase to get to that. They just can't go, okay, well, let's move it from 47 to 50 and hope at the end of the season that those teams have enough money to be able to pay out these players.
Well, they would.
They have to wake their way.
Regardless, you're going to have to pay them 50-50.
Hopefully, you have to make that TV revenue.
Dude, they're going
but
to.
If nobody watches that extra game that nobody plays in.
Okay. I get it.
So here's that extra game. You're relying on that extra game to help you make that TV revenue so you can pay your players, but nobody watches it because you're like, none of the starters are in. Why the fuck am I watching it?
So people are still going to watch, but yeah, you are going to lose major revenue if these starters and superstars aren't out there playing. Like, I love that whole aspect. I just think it's bullshit that if players are doing that.
Well, it comes to an idea is would it be a holdout?
Oh, yeah. Well,
and the holdout would last for 2 years. The 20 season and the 21 season.
Yeah, until they figure it out.
Yeah. So that brings up another issue with, like, Jarvis Landry made a joke. He's like, y'all better get your XFL TV packages ready. Right,
because there's going to be a whole bunch of players over there. But see, none of these guys are going to go to the XFL because there's less rules to keep them safe and, not getting hurt like they're bitching about here with this extra game.
Yeah, that's
true. The only, like I said, the only
problem
I have...
I think that's why he just made it a joke,
right.
But,
I think the only problem I have with it is the 50-50 split. It should be 50-50, not 53-47, then 48, then 48.5. I think it's ridiculous when they're going to make hundreds of billions of dollars off this if you add another game and everybody does start and does play week 7, because some of these week 17, or I should say week 18 games, because the bye, if they do add this extra game, 17 games on that extra game, some of those games are going to matter. You'll have to play those starters. So I think they're going to be forced into it at the same time. They're going to have to play to see if they can make the playoffs. What if they have to win that? It's a must-win, 17th game they have to be in.
Well, check this out too. I mean, let's say you go play in Mexico or London or Canada like they've been doing, because there's no more than 10 international games per season from 20 to 25.
Right.
So any team playing more than one international game in a season will pay players an extra $5,000. Each player gets an additional $5,000 for every international game they play.
I wonder if it's active roster players or if it's everybody on practice squad and everything like that, because then I could be like, yeah, go ahead and pay them if it's just the active players,
and most likely
players.
Because they're not in the States, that $5,000 is tax free too.
Maybe, yeah, but
so I see a lot of goods to it, but yeah, I think the main issue they're having is health reasons.
Yeah, money. They're like, well, like you're saying, I'm not going to play an extra game for $250,000 when I usually make $2 or $5 or $8 million a game, whatever it may be. But I think every other aspect of it, because they did say, I don't know if we went over this or not, they did say that the postseason structure would go in effect if they can get this, done before the regular season or preseason starts, that postseason with the 2 extra teams and the 14 teams and that whole setup with the new structure would go in effect this season. So I think that would be cool. So I kind of hope they do get it done so we can see that, extra teams on each AFC and NFC in the postseason and see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, these NFLPA leaders, I think, are definitely doing the right thing by trying to make a stand to get more.
Yeah, of course.
It's they're absolutely 100% valid in what they're trying to do, but I think is what they're worried about the most is, well, the owners are trying to be like, all right, let's go ahead and hurry up with this. Let's get a sign. And these players are like, why do you want us to sign this so quickly?
Yeah, it's what's in the fine print.
Like, yeah, what are you guys hiding? Because like everybody said, they're only getting this like revised version, this shortened version of what the actual rules are. And most of them are like, I want to see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But only the NFLPA players like Rodgers, Watt, all those guys who represent their teams have been sitting in these meetings for like the last 10 months, and they're sharing this information. You know, I'm sure not a lot of people are geniuses, so they're not fully understanding it, but you know, you get a breakdown, and there's representatives from the NFLPA that have been like, I've sent every player the breakdown of this, and the vote ended up being like 17-14.
Yeah, it's just barely passed.
And one sustained or something like that. So it's like, if your guys aren't educated and they're asking what the fuck's going on, I don't like this deal, even though it's been voted on or whatever.
Right.
Then that's your own NFLPA leader's fault for not educating his own.
Here's where the problem lies. It's in the fucking owners, and it's in the fucking GMs, those guys, and the NFL in general, because they want to make all this fucking money on these guys' expenses, their bodies, their physical capabilities and everything, their skill set, right? But they don't want to pay them because they want to stay rich. That's why these owners are rich and stay rich. They don't want to make these guys, give them any more money than what they have to, even if it's for an extra game, which is bullshit. Should be 50-50. I'll never stop saying that. And these guys are not going to agree on it until you probably do. I guarantee you put 50-50 in front of these guys and say, here, okay, we changed it. Revenue is going to be 50-50. How about we sign? Okay, we're in a partnership, right? Isn't this a partnership? You're gaining off of my success? Then yes, I should be paid the equal amount with you that's sitting on your fucking ass making all the rules and going, cut, release, practice squad, all that shit. That's my part on it.
And you got to think about this too. The NFL is trying to push for this to happen quickly because they're trying to think about the next up and coming season as well. Like we need to get this deal done
so
we can get all of the people who are going to pay us our revenue as far as all lined up. We need all the TV time, sponsors set up. We need to get this done so we can get this money coming in. And
show these players, like, here's proof.
And I think that's another reason why they're trying to get it signed, is so they can get the money situation fixed. So not only they're making their profit, but they can guarantee these players this money.
Yeah.
And all the additional information that they signed. But if you want to know more information about the CPA, or if we left something out, you can definitely go online, look at all that stuff, NFL.com, CBS Sports, wherever you need to go to look up that information. We've tried to give you as much as possible, but the main structure is look for a possible, 17-game season. The postseason expanded 12 to 14 teams, and, each team receives a bye week in place of a fourth-round preseason game, plus additional salary cap raises.
Not by much.
Yeah, not by much.
Not
and
50-50.
Then a revenue split as well. I think the players should just let it wait till 2021 to make that decision, and
but I want to see
try to squeeze more
14-team playoff platform.
I want to. A lot of the players are upset about that too. They're like, "Why are you fucking up something that we've already got that works?"
I don't see why this would be more fun. It's
Plus,
more football.
It's more revenue. This is how you guys also get more money.
Right. And when it's in the playoff times, one more real quick thing. When it's in the playoff times, you get bonuses for making those divisional round, wild card round, the championship. So if you add one more team each, that's just going to add more money in your pocket because you're getting more bonuses.
Plus, you're going to get an additional 3 days off after a Thursday game.
Yeah, and you might not play till Monday. They said that'd be cool to have a Monday night playoff game because we have never seen that, I don't think, ever.
So this change is not only scaring them because they went to the lowest the NFL has been in a long time to the last 2 years being extremely profitable, and now they're starting to do all these new changes, and they're like, fuck, what if we really, really fuck this up and we go back to fucking where we were 2 years ago.
I'd see, and I don't think they would, because they got a bunch of smart people trying to figure this out.
Well, hopefully.
Because why would you go into changing all this if it didn't benefit money-wise? Because that's what they want. They want more money. That's all it is. It's all about money.
Well, I know.
Money. So
that's the only reason they're making these changes.
But I'm saying,
is because they're going to get more revenue from TV.
But they've done the math, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They've have it all figured out. It's just voting on it and getting these players to agree. So, and them to change the 50-50, I guarantee they would agree, like I've been preaching. So,
I think they would too. So, tell us what you think, guys. If you got any, like I said, any additional information on these CBA proposals, let us know. Give us your comments, your likes. I'm T-Ball.
And I am Mr. Bradley. This is the Heat of Waves podcast. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. This may not have been the best episode for some of you guys, but it does matter because it changes a lot in football, the way we see football and how we watch it, and it just gives us more football. So hopefully it happens from here in the Heat of Waves podcast. Again, I'm Mr. Bradley.
I'm T-Ball. Heat of Waves Studio, guys.
Yep. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Peace.